Are you feeling like you're burnt out, running on empty, no energy, no motivation, and even struggling with brain fog? Maybe weakness in the gym or sore joints? I've been there, and burnout is one of the biggest challenges I've faced over the last decade. Let's talk about what to look out for and what changes to make before it takes control of you. One of the first things I seem to notice is weakness in the gym. I notice that my strength, because I track everything and I can tell you exactly where I normally lift, my weakness in the gym decreases quite quickly. I also notice I have a things to do board in my office, and I feel like I'm spending 10 to 15 hours a day sometimes. Normally in that time I can complete a substantial amount of work. I find myself that these lists in the things to do list don't seem to be decreasing, although I've spent many hours staring at a computer screen following a very specific plan. Productivity and the output of all that energy seems to decrease significantly. That is one of the things I notice, probably secondary to the gym. Also, I quite often notice that I start to get sick real easy. I have 2 young kids, and normally it doesn't bother me too much, but I notice that they start to, with the bugs and things they bring home from school, I start to get sick all the time. I don't mean sick, I just mean unwell, or you seem to get a blocked nose or sore throat, or just massive decrease in energy, waking up feeling like you've got a slight bug all the time. Being disciplined becomes a little bit harder because mentally and physically you just aren't 100%. Things that you normally do very easy aren't so easy anymore. Really having to look for motivation to do things, which for me, I don't really have. Motivation isn't something I really use as a tool. I used to watch a lot of old bodybuilding videos and people achieving quite high performance sports things, and that used to motivate me. Achieving my own goals motivates me more than anything. I notice that starts to wane. And lastly, no matter how much I sleep or how much fluids I drink before I go to bed, I always seem to wake up feeling lethargic, like I've no energy, don't want to really do anything that I'd normally enjoy doing, and I always seem to feel dehydrated when I wake up in the morning. The dehydration I don't think is really anything to do with the burnout, it's just a feeling that I get when I've not been sleeping properly. For me it's important to understand why I'm feeling like this, or for me it's important to identify these points, these trigger points, or these areas where you can see that the fatigue's coming on or burnout's coming on. Most importantly, it's to understand where it's coming from so you can adjust that, and we're going to look at that just now in some detail. If you look at your workload, for example, are you doing more workload not only over that set period of time, but is it workload over, have you been consistently working non-stop for days, weeks, months, years in some cases? Have you been working later and later each day? Your productivity is going down. Rather than taking a rest and being more productive, you've probably started doing more hours, as I was doing. I do this every time in cycles. I reach a point after months or years, and then all of a sudden I go being extremely productive to being almost doing nothing, although I'm spending a lot of time. And instead of thinking I need a rest, which I know that through experience, I've been through this many times, I always end up trying to push more hours and doing more hours rather than taking a rest first, which is okay. I think you should obviously try to do a little bit more first, just to make sure it is that you are fatigued or burnout and it's not down to poor planning, or you've not prioritised properly, or maybe you're jumping between tasks and that's why you're not productive. There's often the work aspect. If you've got kids or family, maybe they're absorbing a lot of your time and energy. They've been going to a lot more activities, maybe having to travel more with the kids, maybe they've taken on extra activities in the evening that you're having to be there and watch, and this is eating away at your own time, and then you're having to go back and catch up on that when you go home, leading into working later at night times. That happens to me quite often. I feel like I'm supporting other people all day and then I'm working into the late hours of the evening, which for me I don't like, so I end up having to chase myself to catch up again. You also have your own activities and hobbies. It's very important that you obviously do things you enjoy on top of business and sports. Sometimes I force myself to do these, which cause me a lot of backlog and end up having to work extra hours to catch up again. Training, for example, that can be quite a big one. If you're really pushing it in the gym, it doesn't really matter the intensity you're going. Everyone's gauge of intensity will be totally different in terms of how their body's feeling, how intense the exercise is. Maybe you've been doing something like couch to 5k, where you've went from doing nothing to pushing every day for months. Maybe you've been chasing a lot of PBs in the gym. Maybe you've been doing a lot of more endurance or a lot more sprint. Whatever it is, maybe you've just went from doing nothing to doing a lot, and you've got the bug, and this has went from training 1, 2, 3 days a week to now you're doing it 5, 6, 7. You've got all these things like overtraining. Then you can look at sleep as well. If you've been sleeping the recommended 7 to 9 hours every day, If you have not, that could be quite an obvious one. It's maybe not just 1 or 2 days, maybe this has been building up over months or years and your sleep's been decreasing, because quite often you can train yourself to function on less sleep, but it doesn't mean that you're not getting adequate rest for your body's recovery. Then we have things like hydration. Are you drinking enough water through the day that allows your body to function correctly? And lastly, there is many other things we could look at, but lastly, we're going to look at nutrition. Are you eating enough to fuel not only your activity, everything your body needs? Are you eating enough nutrition for that? Calories in, calories out, for example, could be a good one. If you've been in a calorie deficit for 6 months every single day, it's probably far too long, and you maybe need some days where you have a week off or go back to eating, and at least where you're breaking even with your energy balance. These are all things you can look at, because you need to identify where the root cause of this problem is coming from so you can adjust it. One of the first things I like to do when I realise, for me, it's normally an accumulation of all these things. It's never hydration, it's never nutrition, but the rest of them are quite often the case. What I like to do is take a complete week off. Now, for me, I can't actually do that myself. I really need to force a rest. What I generally do is I'll take a vacation with my family, and I won't do any weight training. I won't take any supplements. I will avoid doing my normal strict diet. I still meet my protein goals to maintain the muscle I've spent years building, but outside of that I enjoy eating different foods. I make sure I'm getting a lot of nutritious foods in. I put a lot of focus on being hydrated throughout the day, and really just try to give the body a break from the same foods, all the supplements that go in. You know, although a lot of supplements can be good for you, overloading your liver and your kidneys, your digestive system's not very healthy though. While I am on holiday, what I would do, or vacation as many would call it, I make sure I'm doing a lot of enjoyable things with my kids. I'm doing a lot of active rest activities. I try and go for a couple of deep tissue massages. I'll spend time in the spas, the sauna. This time here, going things like snowmobiles, try to make best use of the mountains, a lot of skiing with the kids, taking them sledging. Doing all these things quite often, you know, you're having a lot of laughs and you're having a lot of real positive times. It's a lot of laughing, a lot of joking, away from any stress. All you're basically doing is this active recovery. I said I would never choose to take a week off the gym. I would never choose to avoid my diet, my nutrition, unless I was forced to. When I take myself out of my home environment and I go on vacation, it is then forced. There's no gym here. There's no way that I could stick to my meals without really going crazy and try to like go to different shops and things. The local shops here don't even sell meat other than processed packaged meat, some tins of tuna and things. But you know, I'm not here, I'm here to avoid that. That's how I do it. I know for many people, they say we can't just stop work and go away on vacation. I think many people can try to get on vacation once or twice a year. Other things you can do, you can just avoid the gym. You can avoid late nights. Big focus on getting to bed on time, making sure in the morning you're waking up before your alarm goes off. Really focusing on high nutritious foods. Focus on making sure you're getting the hydration. Aiming for about 3 litres of water a day if you can. Obviously, if you're drinking too much water, your urine will be very clear. Just keep adjusting that. Same with the nutrition. You don't want to be overeating as well. You want to be giving your kidneys, your liver, your digestive system a bit of rest, but you still want to be getting enough nutrition. You still want to be getting enough nutrition to fuel your recovery. If you can and you have the facilities nearby, try and do a lot of Pilates, yoga, meditation, but not the advanced extreme styles. You're looking for something that is really low intensity. You can just switch off your mind, body, and focus on a lot of relaxation techniques. If you can, get yourself to the spa, use a sauna, steam room, jacuzzi. Try just switch your mind off, make sure there's no stress. While you are there, obviously, again, making sure you're keeping the hydration up. Sometimes I do think as well for the first few days is just to have a complete 2, 3, 4 days off of absolutely everything. Some people maybe need a week where you do almost nothing other than maybe going for a nice walk each day, spend some fun time with your kids or something. I've never been at that extreme case. For me, active rest works better than these complete rests. I feel much worse if I lay about the house watching TV and things. I've tried this for a few hours. It doesn't really work for me. I think it's good to keep the body moving, and whether it's walking, you're still the blood's circulating around your body, you're getting the fresh air, you're burning some calories at a very low intensity. Last thing for me, and something that does really bother me, so I have a very structured life. I have goals, I have objectives, I have a plan, and everything's prioritised how I want to do it. But I have a family and they have their own needs, and obviously we need to be able to accommodate everyone. And I also have friends and I have family, I have my coaching clients, I have business partners, all these people that are have great relationships with, and you need to be able to spend time with them, whether it's in a personal or business setting. All these things do take up time. Out with that, I think it's important to be able to say no to people. I do find I get invited or asked to do many things, and although I'd love to do them, I know it's not possible to be able to do everything I want to do to achieve my goals and say yes to everybody that asks. One of the good things it can be to avoid burnout, or where you are burnt out, so you're getting worse, is being able to say no to people. If you don't want to do something, just say no. You don't have to explain why, but it'd be nice to explain why, that you have your own path and there's these things you want to get after, you feel like you're a little bit overwhelmed just now and you need some time just to focus on your own stuff. So being able to say no to people is a very good trait and something that you should practice. Maybe not to the extremes where you're like me and say no to everything, but it is a very positive thing, and don't feel like you're being selfish by doing so. Burnout doesn't have to be your reality. Just by implementing these few simple steps, you can turn that around. And what I do find as well, when I go through this process, as I explained with the vacation, it's easy. You just go on vacation and everything else is taken care of. Very simple way to do it. It's a little bit more difficult at home because you need to obviously implement something different to your normal routine. When I do come back from vacation, I notice within a few weeks I'm stronger in the gym. I normally hit a few PBs. My joints are rested and recovered and they're good for many months again. I've got rid of all the little niggles and injuries, and business productivity, that newfound motivation's back and absolutely flying. Actually, you think taking that week or two off to go on vacation, you're going to be well behind. In reality, I'll catch up in a day or two, and actually probably in a month's time I'll be way further ahead than what I was if I just kept pushing and pushing, 14, 15 hours, working days, achieving very little every day, or little in terms of what I could achieve. Don't be afraid to take a rest. If you are really struggling with this and you want us to analyse your current routine or your behaviours and seeing where we could help you get recovered, feel free to reach out. We can schedule a free consultation call. Anything you get from that call you can take away for free. If you want to continue that journey with us, we can also look at that while we're on the call. Thanks for listening. Time to take the kids snowmobiling today. I'll upload some videos of that later. If you have enjoyed this video, there is many more videos like this on our channel that can help you achieve your health, fitness, overall wellness goals and set you up for a successful 2025.